and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Holcomb.
Here.
Nikki. Here. Sarah. Here. Philip.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
John.
Here.
Paige.
Here.
Lemmings.
Here.
Bass.
Here.
As far as the agenda, we do have one additional ordinance that was submitted after the packet was released. That ordinance was by Nikki Brown. Do I hear a motion to entertain that ordinance this evening?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to entertain Nikki's additional ordinance. Are there any other changes? Motion was by Mary, second by Virgil. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Roll call vote for agenda.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Paige.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes and financials?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes and financials. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Brings you up to the county judge's comments, and you're going to have to bear with me for just a couple of minutes. And I wanted to write this down because there are some things I wanted to say tonight that I truly do mean. And they've kind of been on my heart lately anyway. And then that got amplified when Paula Smith died. So there was an empty seat this evening in the back of the room, which is holding a black bow in honor of the late Paula Smith. Paula was engaged and civic-minded and was almost always here, and she will be missed. Paula and I come from different places politically, but always agreed when it came to doing what was best for Van Buren County. When I was reflecting on the legacy that Paula left us, I was reminded of the dynamic we have here in Van Buren County. We see quorum courts on TV at bitter odds with one another. We even see those bitter odds when we go to AAC conference and the same quorum courts are in the same room. And we get to witness them publicly argue in a public setting. And I came across this article of civic engagement. This is from a city in Virginia. And when I read it, I'm going to change the word city to county. But it reminds me of this quorum court in Van Buren County and of Paula Smith. And the longings expressed in this article, which is called a poem, but it doesn't rhyme, are a true testament of what I believe you all are achieving today. We long for a county where we can go hard on the issues and easy on the people. We long for civility. We long for a county where people focus more on what we have accomplished with pride and amazement, and focus less on what remains to be done with frustration and criticism. Where people come together to meet real challenges with resolve and good humor and a willingness to work collaboratively. Where finding a reasonable compromise is considered a win. Where we can disagree without being disagreeable, and people are civil, respectful, and supportive, even in the face of disagreement. Where broad generalities and stereotypes are not raised over differences of opinion. Where there is an appetite for increased listening to others, and where opinions are allowed to evolve and change. Where we worry more about the common good than a single agenda. We long for a county where residents take the time to go past the headlines, to learn about the issues, and to ask questions. Where civility and common courtesy prevail, and dialogue builds us up without breaking us down. Where we can leave the past behind us and grasp the opportunities that await us. Where we no longer assume the worst in others, that secret agendas disappear, and that honesty and civility are not considered slanderous and outdated. We long for that county. We long for welcoming. We long for a county where everyone feels respected and safe, where we are happy to greet our neighbors as we are to cheer for the home team, where cancel culture is discredited, where working toward a vision of an equitable future and shaping economic development are not construed a conflict of interest, where we make space in our thinking to accept different points of view, not just the fashionable ones, and where we live in line with our values, where neighbors from all parts of our county can prosper, where our county is a place welcome to all who enter, and compassion rules the day. Thank you, Quorum Court of Van Buren County, for your tremendous example. Thank you for putting your constituents' needs first and for being just in an unjust world. Along with the legacy of Paula Smith, your level of cooperation humbles me, and I am truly blessed to have the honor of presiding over this body. Your devotion to Van Buren County is noticed, and it is appreciated. You bet. Thank you. Any officials, would you like to address the court? Or court, do you have any questions for any officials or department heads here? Moves us on to new business, and our first order of business is an ordinance sponsored by Justice Page.
Being enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance number 2023-54, the annual operating budget for 2024, to increase the projected revenue and appropriate $900 into the Election Commission budget number 1000-109. Whereas Van Buren County received a stipend check in the amount of $900 from the State Board of Election Commission for election commissioners who attended training, passed an online test, and worked the 2024 primary election. And whereas this money will need to be appropriated into the Election Commission budget and will be paid out to each commissioner at $300 each. Now therefore be it ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, $900 be appropriated into the Election Commission budget number 1000-109-1002, salaries, part-time, and Section number 2, $300 will be paid out to each commissioner as stated above. I'm moving to accept this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion?
Who second? Just everyone.
Who all seconds? Roll call vote.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Lemmings.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-15.
Thank you. Next ordinance is sponsored by Justice Nikki Brown.
Be it enacted by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, an appropriation ordinance to be entitled, an appropriation ordinance to amend the original appropriation ordinance number 2023-54, the annual operating budget for 2024, to increase the part-time salaries of the library assistant cataloging position and the library assistant position, and to transfer monies within the county library budget number 3008-600 to cover the cost. Whereas the Budget Committee discussed potential increases to county library employee salaries pending recommendation and confirmation by the Library Board that any increases would be funded from the library millage with no increase in subsidy from the county general fund. And whereas the Library Board proposes to increase the part-time library assistant cataloging position to a rate of $13 an hour and to increase the part-time library assistant position to a rate of $12 an hour. And whereas the Library Board has confirmed that these increases will be paid from the library millage with no increased subsidy from county general fund, and whereas the monies from the library millage are appropriated into the county library budget in line item number 3008-600-999, now therefore it be ordained by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, that the part-time library assistant cataloging position will be paid at a rate of $13 an hour. Section 2, that the part-time library assistant position will be paid at a rate of $12 an hour. Section 3, that the monies needed to cover these increases are to be paid from the library millage and shall be transferred from line item number 3008-600-9999, transfer out to the following line items: 3008-600-1002, part-time salaries, $1,071, 3008-600, $1,006, Social Security matching, $81.93, 3008-600-1008, non-contributory retirement, APRS, $164.08, 3008-600-1010, workers' compensation, $2.54, for a total of $1,318.67. I approve we I move to approve that we approve as written.
A motion and a second to adopt this ordinance. Any discussion?
Can the millage for the library stand this without the county's help?
Would you?
I'm looking at the
Yes.
county library.
Library board.
Yeah, that particular line item, we have.
If you wouldn't care, would you care to come up to the microphone just so we get a recording?
David Emmerling, President of the Library Board. We have $150,000 in that a line. It's line 99, ends in 99. And that's the one we come for that payment that we make every year for $150,000 to get this building paid off, which will be in just 3 more of these things. There was this exuberance about 8 years ago where we were at the height of euphoria from all the monies coming in from the gas revenues, and we maybe overreached a little bit on the board's library board's recommendation to build this, and our feelings that we would have sufficient funds, and the same with the Quorum Court at the time, thinking that the money would be there to pay for that. And we were very fortunate and happy and pleased that you offered us that $1 million that came over extra from the building of the hospital. And with that in mind, as long as that comes in, we're able to function, and we have, like I said, we have $150,000 in that account, and we have a whole nother tax season that'll bring in more money for this, and we're only talking about $1,300, I think.
Yes,
approximately.
$1,300 is, there's 17 pay periods left in the year, so I just did it through the end of the year. That's how I calculated that. That's not a whole year, but that's the remainder of the year. On that, just to be clear.
Well, it also needs to be stated that they've been without an employee for a couple of months, so there's a surplus there to cover this. So
Yes.
this is not an issue on the budget.
Right.
Okay, I showed that you have 180,000 in there, correct?
Excuse me, I believe it was 150, but I could be mistaken.
Well, your books, the
If you're looking at them,
report here closes,
okay.
it shows 180,000.
It-
150 comes out of that
For the payment for the, it's not a bond, it's a loan from the bank
Yes, I guess I
to
remember
fund the
when I
library,
did that.
correct. And the county pays $180,000.
And that payment is actually in their budget, plus then they have millage that comes in, which is what you see here.
Right.
And this fluctuates, so like the last time I looked at this was probably a week ago, and it was 157, and now it's 180. And looking at it, trying to analyze it to make sure we weren't getting off key, looks like we had the most revenue come in the second quarter and the fourth quarter as far as their millage. So to me, this looks a little bit above where they were last year. I mean, I think they're on track. I don't see any red flags from looking at that with the budget.
So you're telling me that the 150,000 that we owe this year is already covered?
That the 150 that they pay, so we have been subsidizing that payment. It's due in January of every year.
Right.
So we've already paid our subsidy this year. We'll pay again if that's approved by the budget committee in January. But we don't pay the whole payment. The whole payment is like $330. We subsidize 180 of that, and they do the other portion of that. So we didn't actually pay that $1 million just all at once. We've chosen throughout the years as the budget committee to just do it, subsidize at that 180. We're not changing the subsidy. So
And how many more years we got to have this paid off?
3.
3,
3 years. That's
and
good.
it's over.
That's good.
3 payments. It's
Three.
actually
It's
less
3
than
years,
3
yeah.
years.
It
Less
comes
than
every
3.
January. So.
Be first payment we
Or
make
2.5.
in January of 27.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Holcomb.
Yes.
Nikki.
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Lemming.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
O 2024-16.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is a resolution sponsored by Mary Phillips, and I know by our procedural ordinance, resolutions are by title only unless requested to read in its entirety. And I would request, if you wouldn't mind, Mary, to read this in its entirety.
No problem. Be it resolved by the Quorum Court of the County of Van Buren, State of Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, "A Resolution to Declare a Vacancy on the Van Buren County Hospital Board of Governors and to approve the appointment in order to fill the vacancy." Whereas Van Buren County Quorum Court has the responsibility and obligation to appoint members to the Van Buren County Hospital Board of Governors, and whereas Randall Gardner, board member, has passed away, and whereas there is a need to fill this vacancy. Now therefore be it resolved by the Quorum Court of Van Buren County, Arkansas, that Section 1, the Quorum Court of Van Buren County hereby confirms the appointment of Robert Dempsey to fill the vacant position. Section 2, this term will expire July 31st, 2025. Section 3, the complete slate of the Board of Governors is as follows. Now, each year it changes on the 31st of July. So, Donnie Collins in 27, Jody Lynn in 26, Gwen Aday, 31, Richard Collins, 30, Sam Shannon, 29, Doyle Scroggins, 28, and Robert Dempsey, 25. I move that we adopt this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. To open discussion, Robert wanted to be here this evening, and he has been stuck at the Dallas airport, and he'll be here next month to meet everyone. But he's, I think y'all know his father, Roy Dean, and he's going to have to rent a car to get back. I don't know what's going on with airlines. So any further discussion? All in favor of adopting this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any other public comments or any other? Oh, I'm sorry.
R 2024-04.
Thank you. I get ahead of myself sometimes. Any public comments or further business? I entertain a motion to adjourn. Any opposed?